Welcome to Eternal Journey, the podcast.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Eternal Journey, the podcast that talks about all things eternal with a focus on limited play. This is episode 50 of the podcast, and today we're going to have a year in review. This is exciting. 50 episodes. Somehow I've managed to make it through it thanks to you guys. So we're going to talk about it. But first, on the line, as usual, my good friends and co-host, John Holio. What is up, buddy?
Hey, Jedi. Hey, Alex. Hey, listeners.
Hey. There we go. Darth Herman
Nice.
2. Alex, how are you doing this week, buddy?
Not too bad. What's up, fellas?
Nice. Sweet.
Just podcasting, you know.
You know it. So with that, let's go ahead and do a little bit of housekeeping first before we dive right into it. And want to mention your YouTube channel. That is Eternal Journey on YouTube, where you guys can catch draft videos, sealed videos, constructive videos, tournament reports, and now a new segment I'm doing, the Eternal Update, where I pretty much anytime a balance change, a patch note, a new event comes on, I go through it for you real quickly, so you don't have to take the time to try to find it and read it yourself. I read it for you and give you an occasional mention about it, which we got a great, huge update today, which we'll talk about later on in the Constructed Corner. But yeah, definitely check it out. Once again, Eternal Journey on YouTube. You know, throw a subscribe out there. It's free, and you get notified whenever stuff happens. If you can't catch me live. Speaking of live, catch me live at twitch.tv/Jedi_EJ, where you can catch me streaming live every Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And of course, thanks to my great co-hosts /mods/friends, you can catch Alex and John on there as well in the chat, making fun of me and utilizing that facepalm Yoda emote to no end.
Absolutely.
I'm not gonna lie, it's my favorite emote.
Hands down, mine as well. Or hands on face, whatever. You got it. You get the idea.
One hand up, one hand down.
Yeah.
The
With sunglasses on.
That one is pretty legit, not gonna lie. Like the sunglasses Yoda is pretty legit.
I definitely liked the Santa hat one when it was available, but that's rotated out, unfortunately.
Is it? Oh, that's such a shame. It fits so well too.
Yeah, it was like perfect.
All right, and finally leads us to shout outs. So once again, first I want to say thank you to all our Jedi Knights in the Jedi Order. Thank you guys so much for your ongoing support of the channel. I really appreciate it. We do have some new Padawans that joined us this week. So I want to say a big thank you to Extinction and the Jimjo for joining the Jedi Order. Thank you guys so much. Alex?
All right, so shout outs to Gibbon Plus Plus, an awesome streamer himself, and Random Zero.
Welcome, guys. Thank you so much for the support. Really appreciate it. John Julio, you have a shout out today, don't you?
I do. Yeah, I have a special shout out to our friend Parmalee from the Misplay podcast. I owe him this. I promised him I'd hook him up with a catchphrase / soundbite for his soundboard on his stream, which is super fun. So here goes. Get roped, nerds.
Boom. I need to get a soundboard. That way next time I could put in all kinds of cool stuff leading up to it or in the background.
The king of strategic roping has a new toy to play with now, so.
No joke. I wonder if he's going to catch the VOD where I've totally turned him into a verb.
It was well deserved. I hope so.
It was spur of the moment too. The funny thing is I think he listens to the podcast, so it'd be kind of funny because now if he didn't know about it, he'll know about it, but I won't tell him what VOD it is, so he has to go track it down. He's like, where is it?
They're only saved for up to a month, I think, so better get on it.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. All right. That's going to do it, guys, for our housekeeping, which means we get to start off the show. Let's go ahead and go into our Crack-a-Pack, our Pack 1 Pick 1 today. So our first row, we have Lathrai Courtier. This is a 0/3 Elf Mage at common for 2-time Shadow. When you play a relic, draw the top card of your deck, or the top power card, I'm sorry. When you play a relic, draw the top power card of your deck. Next, we have Fallen Oni. This is a 1/2 Oni at common for 1 in shadow. Summon, the enemy player discards the top unit of their deck. Personal favorite of mine up next is Amber Acolyte. This is a 2/1 Explorer at common for 3 time. Summon, draw a sigil of your choice from your deck. And finally, because apparently Acolytes like hanging out together like Evangels do, we have Granite Acolyte, the 2/1 Oni at common for 3 and a fire. Summon, play a +2 attack or +2/+0 iron sword on one of your units. All right, John, you are the relic master out of the 3 of us, and we have Lithrai Courtier in it. So how do you feel about these first 4?
Well, I'm definitely not looking to first pick this Courtier. I'm a big fan of that card in constructed modes, obviously, and it was actually really good in a few sets ago in draft.
Yeah, when
where
it was
there was
actually
a ton of relic
supported.
support.
Yeah,
But not so much here. I do like the 2 Acolytes, though. Those are both very strong cards in their respective colors. I think, I don't know. I like the Amber Acolyte goes way up if you're base time, right? Because it helps you fix early on, and if you're trying to splash something, like it really helps with that, and it leaves a body. And then the Granite Acolyte is just really good in any aggressive red deck like Praxis or Rakano or something. So these are 2 defensible first picks here for sure. I think I'd probably lean towards the Amber Acolyte, just because time is so good in the format, and who doesn't like, ensuring that you're going to get to 4 power and possibly fix your colors.
fair. Yeah, I can get behind that. I'm with you there. But, Fallen Oni also has that clause where it's always going to mill their bomb rare, right?
Does it?
I mean, at least that's why I feel like it does whenever they play it against me. But,
Yeah, I mean, that ability is not completely irrelevant, but...
Nah, I'm just trolling. I'm trolling. You guys don't want to pick that. It's one of the last cards you had in your deck. Okay, moving on to the second row of comments. We have Bannerman, 2/2, 4/2, neutral card, soldier common. Summon, gain an influence of your choice. Sauropod Wrangler, 2/2, explorer for 2 time. Your units with 5 attack or more cost 1 less. Amaran Camel, 0/3 Camel for 3 time primal. When you draw a card, you gain 1 health. And flying, we have Softfoot Burglar, 1/1 Explorer Rogue for 1 fire. When you play a spell, Softfoot Burglar gets +1/+1 this turn. Renown, so whenever it's targeted by an attachment or a spell, by one of yours, create and draw a treasure trove. Treasure trove is 2 power, draw slow spell for 2 power, draw a card. So, Alex, what stands out to you in this row?
The Bannerman, as always. Just a great card. I think second pick for me, I don't know. Those really aren't that good. I don't like picking up the dinosaur, the 2/2 that
the Wrangler.
Out big guys.
Yeah, it's situational ramp.
It's like a card I like picking up if I have a lot of fatties, like later on. So
yeah, like it's playable, but man, Bannerman is definitely the stronger first pick here, right?
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so with all the comments, are you still on Bannerman or are you on one of the Acolytes?
I'm thinking I like time a lot, so probably the Amber Acolyte so far.
Yeah.
Lets you split well.
Yeah, I'm with that as well. I think it can do the influence fixing job of Bannerman, and the body's just as relevant, I think. And drawing a sigil out of your deck is sweet. So yeah, I think Amber Acolyte for me here.
Yeah, I'm with you guys because at the end of the day, it's still an additional card off of your deck versus Bannerman will 100% make your deck, but Amber Acolyte is a good enough card that it's worth kind of taking over it. Okay, going into the uncommons. This one might be a little easier. We have Icebreaker. This is a 0/3 Yeti for 3 primal. and it reads Exhaust Icebreaker to kill a stunned enemy unit. Nope, not a thing in this format. We'll move on. Seek Answers. It is a 2-cost slow spell. Choose power or non-power, then draw a random card of that type from your deck. It is fixing, but you really don't want it this early because it is random, so you may or may not get fixing. And obviously we have Bannerman and Amber Acolyte, so that's also a non-bow or non-consideration. And then finally we have Valkyrie Accuser. This is a 3/5 Valkyrie for 7 Justice. She has flying, she has Aegis, and she has Onslaught. Play Timidity on an enemy unit. Excuse me, and Timidity reads that a enemy unit cannot attack. All right, John, how do you feel about Valkyrie Accuser?
I'm a pretty big fan of this card. She can, tussle with just about every other flyer that's not, some really big rare or legendary dragon. The biggest common flyer is what, like a 4/5. So she can still, block that or, attack into that or whatever. Just baseline. The double justice is kind of rough, but it's at 7, so that's not that big of a deal. You just, can't really splash this card. And then those 2 keywords, man, if you can pair that with like an Immortalize, Give Her Exalted or something like that, she's even, that is like super premium. But I think she's okay even without that additional synergy. And Timidity, that can basically help you win the game too. So I'm pretty high on this card, honestly.
Yeah, Timidity is not quite a removal spell, but in most cases it is, so I can understand that. How much consideration do you give to the fact that it's a 7-cost unit, though?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of ways and a lot of decks that are trying to get to that number of power regardless, so I don't think it's that big of a turnoff necessarily. You obviously can only have so many 6 and 7s in your deck, but I think this one is good enough to want to go for, honestly.
Okay, cool. Man, as usual, we have a rare. This is Howling Peak Smuggler. This is the Skycrag Smuggler. So a 2/2 merchant for 3 fire primal. Her static ability is your spells deal +1 damage. Then when you summon the Smuggler, you may choose a card from your hand to swap with a fire or primal card in your black market, i.e. black markets can only have cards that are not in your main deck. So, John, how do you feel, or sorry, Alex, how do you feel about, I said John because you always play Skycrag, but Alex,
Right.
Where are you at on the Smuggler?
It's I like playing Smugglers in my deck. I don't necessarily like first picking them though. I like picking up a little bit later and then one of the colors maybe being your splash color. I've done that a couple times and that seems to work pretty good. John, you'd probably take the Smuggler, right? I think first.
No, I mean the spell damage deck is one that you don't want to like necessarily start in. If it's all coming to you, I'd be much more inclined to pick this. But no, I'm not looking to first pick basically any Smuggler, kind of like you just said.
Okay.
I'm kind of with that plan. But at least this one is really helpful in the colors and like the strategy that it's that you're going for anyway. So like it's probably a pretty good Smuggler in this format especially if you're already in kind of the spell damage deck. But no, I'm still looking at this Valkyrie Accuser here for a pack one pick one personally. What about you?
Yep. I'm on the same Valkyrie Accuser. She's it's been a lot of grown tests out of me, that card. I've thought I've had games won and then she comes down and lets you not win the game and then starts beating you in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Just a great card.
Man, it's actually kind of tough for me because don't get me wrong, I like Accuser. I like her quite a bit. It's just tough, man. Taking double justice and then, I mean, granted, we don't mind being in Justice All in this format, but a double justice 7-drop versus an Amber Acolyte or a Bannerman that could for sure make your deck. Like, I'm definitely looking at Amber Acolyte here, but you guys are right. Valkyrie Accuser can just close games. I think it's worth it. I think it's fine. Like in this podcast, we're big proponents of being willing to throw away your first pick. So I think taking the strongest card is probably always your best bet. So I think I'm with you guys. I think I would take Accuser.
Yeah, like I think Amber Acolyte could run into literally the same issue as Accuser, right? Like I'm not looking to play Amber Acolyte if I'm not base time, right? Like it's not a splash card because you want to play it on curve and you want to you want to use it to help you play like a splash color or something like that. So I mean, there's a chance that even Amber Acolyte doesn't make your deck. So if you're going by that metric, I'd just go for the higher upside in Accuser.
Sweet.
Is there anything taking a flyer just for discussions purposes, the smuggler? We were just talking about Nick a couple weeks ago, and he loves that deck, right? The red blue deck. So
Sure, yeah, Yetis in particular, yeah.
Like if that ends up being open for you, then it could conceivably be powerful.
Yeah, if I get past the smuggler and on pick 3 or 4, then and maybe a pack before that had a punter or something in it, then I'm gonna probably go immediately leaning into the spell damage / Yetis deck, but not pack 1 pick 1.
It seems like the funnest card to draft first, but the most responsible card would be the Valkyrie.
I mean, if you're saying just responsible, it might even be Bannerman.
But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, obviously the most adult pick, the less exciting, but the most effective pick is going to be Bannerman because A, it's 100% going to make your deck, and then B, it enables the rest of the cards or the rest of your picks to be playable in your deck. So yeah, a non-emotion aside, in a vacuum, I think it might still be Bannerman, just because like at the end of the day, Valkyrie Accuser is still an uncommon, and it being double justice, I have seen these get passed kind of late sometimes as well.
It's true.
So
yeah, if it's open and it's in the packs, that's going to be coming around.
Yeah, and
the person's not interested.
Yeah, and the cool thing about that is I think it's a very clear-cut sign. If you see an Accuser come by 3rd, 4th, 5th pick, it's 90% chance that justice is open. And
yeah, I'd agree with that.
So, it's one of those things you can go either way. So, but yeah, I think here, once again, because all 3 of us are very willing to sacrifice our first picks and we don't regret it, I think going for the highest power card here in the form of Valkyrie Accuser is correct.
Cool.
Sweet. All right, guys. So that is it, which means we're going to go into our main topic, which is our year in review. That's right. So a little bit of history on EternalJourney. I initially started it back in December of 2020. So 2018 in December is when I started EternalJourney. And I started it with my circus partner, which sadly she began to travel to teach. And so she wasn't able to do the podcast. So I went on a little bit of hiatus trying to figure out if I get another partner or not. And then I decided, you know what, like I need to stop making excuses and just start doing it. So I began to do the podcast on my own consistently when the fall of Argenport is when I started playing. So what was the next set after that? Shoot, I'm drawing a blank.
Was
now.
that Defiance?
Yeah, Defiance. There you go. Thank you. So Defiance came out, and that's when I really solidified the podcast and doing it on a weekly basis, starting off with the set reviews. Side note, I'm super excited to do a set review with you guys, even though I could see it being a marathon. So I did that. I did some archetype breakdown, some beginner stuff. I had a couple of friends come on the show to just kind of start building it up. And finally, I just solidified doing the show on a weekly basis on my own. And at some point during that time, I started to pick up speed. One of my biggest fans and encouragers and supporters was Darth Herman too, which I'll shout out to you, buddy. If it wasn't for your support amongst a couple other people, but you were very active in giving me feedback and letting me know that you appreciate the show. So that definitely motivated me to continue doing the show. And here we are somewhat a year later. And yeah, I mean, now I got 2 great co-hosts on it. We've got a bunch of listeners. We're getting feedback. We're slowly but surely building up a fantastic community, helping people get into draft, helping people get into Eternal. And I couldn't be happier. So I wanted to do something a little bit special. We are doing a $20 Steam gift card giveaway, which will announce the winner at the end of the show, which I guess I should have plugged that in sooner. Newbie podcaster here, making all these points.
Well, they can't enter anymore, so it's not a big deal.
Fair. But yeah, and that's So we did a couple of polls. Alex went ahead and did some polls to get an idea of what the community is like and things. We're going to talk about some of the things we liked and disliked about Eternal over the course of the year and give you a little bit of insight. So a little slightly off topic episode, but I think 50 is a milestone. So I don't mind celebrating a little bit with you guys. So Alex, you want to go ahead and take it away?
So on Discord, we asked the community we got on there a few questions just to see what they were thinking, what kind of Eternal players they were. And one of them was, what dual faction in Eternal is your favorite to play, or do you most identify with? And this was very close. We got 4 people identify as Skycrag, and then it's a 4-way tie for second. We got some Racanos, 3 Racanos, 3 Praxis, 3 Feln, and 3 Combre. I'm personally one of the Racanos in there.
Very cool.
Let's see here. Let's see. We got a few loners here. We got 1 Stone Scar, 1 Argenport, and 1 Xenon to round it out. So that's a pretty wide range of types of what they identify with. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's nice and spread out. That's about what I would expect. I think I could probably pinpoint a couple of those players in particular. But yeah, that's cool. So you're Rakano. What about you, Jedi?
Yeah, I'm Rakano as well. It's funny because when I first started playing Eternal, coming from Magic, like a lot of Eternal players do, I typically stuck to mid-range and aggro for Eternal, mainly because in Magic, because I was like casual competitive, if that makes sense. I wanted to be competitive. I went to the tournaments to try to spike and stuff like that, but I wasn't able to play full time. So I gravitated towards aggro decks because they were A, the cheapest to make, and B, they saved you the most brain power in between rounds because you were winning or losing your games very quickly. And so when I came over to Eternal, I wanted to try to diversify myself and play control. And so obviously, Harsh Rule obviously gravitated me to Justice and things like that. But slowly the games took forever and I wasn't very familiar with all the cards. So it's hard to play control when you don't know exactly what to hold answers for. And so I just started to gravitate back to aggro. And, Rakano, budget Rakano is just great. The deck wins so many games with nothing but rares and uncommons. So I took that, and the first time I hit Masters, which I think was my 3rd month in, was Rakano. And so there have been a couple of times since then. I've made Masters every month since then, but there have been a couple of times where I'm like, oh God, it's getting kind of close. I don't know if I can get there. So I just this one time again, I pick up the old budget Rakano and just power my way up there. I've done it a couple of times with Yetis, so I guess I'm on the Skycrag train as well. But yeah, Rakano just has good gameplay, and big Rakano is fun. Who doesn't like dropping a bunch of awesome Valkyries and Akarias and Rizons and Zhos and things like that? And of course, Rakano is also segue into Armory, which is one of my favorite archetypes as well. I like bashing people with Sword of the Sky King. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I have to say I've played all the colors. I am very much a jack of all trades. I play control, I play combo, I play aggro, I play mid range, and I play all the colors. Which I personally have heard that it's a good aspect of a good player to be able to diversify and kind of play the best cards for the meta. But yeah, I think at heart I always fall back into Rakano. It just resonates with me in some form or fashion. How about you, John?
Yeah, I mean, like very much like you just said, I kind of start off, as a Rakano player just due to budget purposes and like ease of kind of getting into it and like being able to win consistently without even having a clue what other people are up to as far as meta or anything like that. But I guess I got kind of sick of playing that. And so after the first few months of like Rakano only, I switched it up, and I've been ever since then, I guess, trying to find what I really like in the game. Once my collection was grown and everything, and I think when this last set came out, I finally found what that is. And yeah, like as soon as Prodigious Sorcery came out, I built a deck around that, and I'm solidly a Skycrag aficionado at this point. Like that is easily my favorite deck I've ever played in Eternal. Although the version I've been playing lately is a Genev version, I still consider it, a spell crag deck or whatever. So since there weren't trifaction groupings in that poll, yeah, I'll just say Sky Crag, definitely. And I've never been a Yeti player, so it has nothing to do with Yetis. Unfortunately for some people here, I guess, but I've literally never played the Yeti throne deck.
Gotcha. Man, I don't know. We'll talk about it later when we get into the personality types, because there's some other stuff that I want to talk about. But I will say this, though. It is kind of funny because I remember when I first started at not knowing the decks and stuff, I felt like getting the Masters was such a mission. Little did I know I probably could have made Masters my first month if I just put in the time to actually grind it. But I was like, I wanted to draft and do these things. So I was like, oh, God, I won't win enough to get the Masters. It'll take forever. But honestly, after the first month I got there, the next month it was just subsequent. It was easier and easier. It's really just a time investment.
You also start a little, every month when it resets, you start a little bit higher if you made Masters the last month. So
oh yeah, very
kind of lends itself to repeating the deal there, I guess. I think I made I started at the end of December, so I mean, if you count that, I definitely didn't make Masters my first month, but like my first whole month of playing, I definitely made Masters with that budget Rakano deck.
fair. Yeah, I can understand that. Shoot. All right, Alex, what's next on the list, buddy?
All right, so I feel like I cheated on this one. What is your favorite recurring EJ segment? Neither of you two voted. It was 4-4, but I had already voted, but Pack One Pick One barely edges out Constructed Corner by one. But I voted for that one because I like that one.
So I probably would have voted for Constructed Corner just because I like hearing about different brews and trying different decks. Plus, I do enjoy Pack One Pick One. I think it's a lot of fun to discuss it. But the fact that sometimes we're scrambling to get a good Pack One Pick One, I have a bit of a sore spot for it sometimes, because I'm like, open up a pack, I'm like, this is garbage. This is easily the rare, and then it's like you open up another pack and we're like, great, it's a Fel Ritual. There's nothing even close. So I'm like,
Right.
So
no, I abstained on that one. I just didn't want to influence anything on that, but I'm happy to talk about it. I love limited. It's easily my favorite game mode, draft in particular, over sealed. But that being said, yeah, like if I was just a casual listener at this point in my eternal quote unquote career, I'm more interested to hear about what's going on the constructed side of things. As far as like seeking out that kind of content. So yeah, I'd probably vote for Constructed Corner there.
I think it's funny because all three of us draft, so we just want to draft, and we could talk about draft all day. So I think we want to consume some content, we don't mind the occasional, hey, what's going on in the constructed side of things, because we have next to the minimal ideas.
Exactly.
So but I think overall I like the Pack One Pick One. I like it a lot because I feel especially if for new players, it's very intimidating to look at a bunch of cards and just being like, I have no idea what to pick or what direction I go in. And obviously, like we just talked about for today's Pack One Pick One, you have to be willing to let go of it and throw away that card, because honestly, it's the least informed decision that you make in the entire draft, right? Because you have no idea what any of the two players that are passing to you are feeding you. So you're just stabbing in the dark, but having some form of direction or feeling like you know what you're doing for that Pack One Pick One definitely helps a lot of people feel a little more comfortable in their draft.
Oh, definitely. I get my fill of drafts, between talking about it with you guys, and then I also do a lot of work with the Farming Eternal guys, which is a completely draft focused thing too. So I get my fill of that side of the content. So
how about you, John or Alex? I mean, shoot, you got your Oni deck from Constructed Corner when I talked about it. So
I like sniping decks from Constructed Corner for sure. And then I use them to get my quests and stuff. And the Pack One Pick One though is if it's a good pack, then it's a good conversation. I guess that's what I like. You're right. If it's an easy pack, that's like, but not everyone. It's not an easy pack for everyone necessarily. So it's like good to tell people that, yeah, that's a horrible card. You shouldn't be playing that.
oh yeah, definitely.
Sweet. All right. What's up next, Alex?
So this was a close one. It's were your favorite guests that have been on the podcast? And this is Cassandrith narrowed out E-Money, and Sizzle by one. So it was a pretty close race there.
This was a tough one. Like, you've had so many good guests on your show here, Jedi. Like,
It's actually kind of funny how it's feast or famine. You know, I did so many episodes by myself, just throwing my voice into the void, and then all of a sudden I was like, well, a couple of people know me now. Let me see if I just ask people if they want to be on the show. Which started off with Alex, of course. Darth Thurman was one of my first actual, like, straight up Eternal guests, and all of a sudden it was like everyone was like, yeah, I'd love to be on the show, and it was just boom, 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 guest after guest, and then it was a matter of now trying to figure out, like, even now we have a waiting list of guests, so it's kind of funny. Now I'm like, okay, what topic do we want to bring in X person for?
Oh yeah, and another note, like, some of our more recent guests, like Nick and Papa, weren't even on this poll because we put the question out before we recorded those episodes, unfortunately. So
yeah. Yeah, which is interesting because as of right now, our most viewed episode on YouTube is Nick's episode with Enroush 1. And then I believe he is in second place on SoundCloud, only being beaten by our Flames of Zulda common and uncommon set review. So it's
yeah, like, if I had to, pick one, that he was my ride-in, just because we had such a awesome and long conversation with him. That was like a super fun episode to be a part of.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was an
Plus,
absolute blast.
I wasn't there for like the Kaz interview or anything. That was before my time. So, but that was a great episode too.
Yeah,
huge fan of Kaz.
Yeah, because it's not like it's saved on some kind of internet-based platform or anything where you could tune into it. That would be convenient.
Fair.
It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun having guests on the show just to get different insights. Once again, yeah, Cassandra is definitely a fan favorite of the community as a whole. He's such a good proponent for bringing in new players, for encouraging people to play. He's a great limited player. He's just fantastic personality, all about the community and building it up. So kudos to him. And then Sizzle,
and like we were discussing earlier, he has probably the best, like, some of the best emotes I've ever seen on Twitch.
Oh yeah, for sure. The guy is complete professionalism when it comes to his channel and stuff. And I agree, his emote game definitely forces mine to, like, up my game some, because it is strong with that one. And then E-Money and Sizzle, those guys are just they're really good friends IRL. Sometimes they stream in the same room together, and their dynamic is just absolutely hilarious. Super informative guys, a ton of fun. So
yeah, unfortunately, a little less often with them both in the same room these days. But man, those were some of my favorite streams to watch. Like, Sizzle is hilarious, especially, like, I think after seeing that dynamic, I'm like, man, every streamer needs a hype man.
No doubt. Hey,
brings a lot to the show.
Yeah, hey, as far as I'm concerned, I have a hype crew.
Right, but it's one thing to be in chat, but man, it's another thing to literally, like, shout out random things in the background when you don't even know he's there. It's always a good time when Sizzle's in the room.
Yeah, I'm going to be excited one day whenever we get to do a podcast live, all three of us in person. That'd be super cool, I think.
That's definitely a goal.
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
How about you, Alex? What feedback do you have? Is anything you want to mention about having guests on the show and stuff?
No, it was just like it was cool to, like, when you started having people on, to, like, hear you have a conversation with someone, and not just, like, trying to drive it.
Talk to myself.
Yeah, it's hard, man. Like, you were doing that for so long. Yeah, it's awesome. I thanks for mentioning Nick and Papa and Stever Cakes, because I forgot I was gonna add that to my notes and say that they were, like, not on the original poll. So I'm learning about this stuff. I should have put this one out, like, closer to the record date. I had done it a while ago.
We were trying to, get more responses if possible, just to have the best possible idea of what our community thought about this stuff. So
Yeah, totally. Like the most votes.
Well, what was it for you, Alex, coming on the show the first time? Because I know it was kind of the blue. You were just giving me feedback about the show, and then all of a sudden I was like, "Hey, how would you like to be on the show?" So how'd that work out for you?
Well, I mean, like, I don't know if people can tell, but I still get nervous now. Like talking now, I'm nervous. You know, it's weird. You know, knowing that your voice is going out into the void, like you mentioned. Um,
oh
but
man, now I'm suddenly self-conscious. Thanks for that.
it's just weird, you know. But it's like you just think about it, you're like, well, we're just talking about Eternal. It's like we would be doing it anyways, you know. So why not record it? It's fun mostly. I love it.
I like the disclaimer there. It's like fun mostly. All right, let's move on to the next one. What do you got for us, Alex?
All right, so I in no way am a biased poll creator. So what is your preferred way to play Eternal? So we got Throne, Expedition, Draft Baby,
Woo!
Exclamation point.
And Gauntlet. Yeah, exclamation point. So this was close. Draft Baby was up early, and then I don't know. I think Death must have like recruited some votes for Throne because it pulled out a late victory by 2 over Draft, 9-7.
What?
Right? Yeah, I posted it again today in polls, and like a few other people voted, and yep, took the slight lead.
Get out of here.
That's really interesting.
That's insane. That's it. I gotta close down the Discord. This is hogwash.
Shut it down.
A Throne focused podcast with limited thrown in. Right? We can
No.
What?
I mean, we'll keep that to the corner, right? The construction.
Yeah, no. I this will still forever be a limited focus podcast. Don't get me wrong. Since other social media or other medias are starting to kind of fall by the wayside little by little, we're picking up the torch and trying to give something to everyone. We're the Walmart of eternal podcasting, but at the end of the day, we're sticking to our roots.
What I was surprised about this one was that Expedition didn't get no love at all. Where if I had to pick a limited format, I would pick Expedition. That would be my vote.
You mean constructed?
For constructed, sorry. Yeah, I would pick Expedition. But then again, I have a lot of shift stone and can make whatever deck I need to make. So that's not an issue for me.
You just holler at us for some sweet brews. So I think you skip that hard part.
Yeah, I totally. That's exactly what I do.
I think part of the thing about that is that A, Throne has been around longer, but B, the Throne is the Wild West. You can literally play whatever you want. So I feel like it appeals to more players that way because of the fact that, let's be honest, in Expedition, there's probably at any given time, somewhere between 2 to 4 decks that you could possibly play to some level of success, versus in Throne, it's probably closer to 6 to 8 decks you can play.
I mean, by can play, you just mean at the are as competitive as like the other best decks, right? Like,
yeah, like you have a chance.
You can always kind of try anything and maybe have middling success. I mean, you always have a chance to win with just about anything, but if you want to maximize that chance, yeah, I'd maybe put it more in like the 3 to 5 range for Expedition and like the 6 to 10, maybe a wider range for Throne or whatever. But yeah, I think you're pretty spot on there.
Well, which one do you two like more out of those two?
I've been spending so much time brewing for Expedition for maybe the last like 3 or 4 months, even before it was like really included in official competitive play. I was like, that's where the Tuesday night Eternal ones, and I was like just brewing out of my mind for it. I was having a blast, but at this point, I'm like slightly burnt out on the format. So I'm kind of back on the Throne train again because that's where like I was discussed earlier, my absolute favorite deck in Eternal is a Throne deck right now. So I don't know. I'd probably vote for Throne, I guess, if I had to pick one of the two.
I'm actually 100% down the middle. I know it sounds like a cop-out, but it's really not. Like, Draft is my first love. I will draft all day long and not feel bad about it at all, unless I go on some hellacious losing streak. But constructed, I mean, I could say that I really liked Expedition, because that curse deck was a lot of fun to me. But at the same time, the flip side, just before that, Kairos Praxis was a thing, and I love playing huge giant units, so I had a ton of fun with that. So really, I'm 100% down, or I'm split down the middle between the two of them. I like them both equally. So,
but I think we can all agree on Draft Baby is our real favorite.
Indeed.
Hands down.
Right?
Hands down.
Right? All right. It's what really solidified me as a fan of Eternal to begin with. Like, I was, Draft was my favorite mode in like Magic, for example, and it's just not economically feasible or physically feasible to do all the time. And man, as soon as I realized you could just basically go infinite drafting Eternal if you're decent at it, man, I was hooked.
Awesome. Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I'm surprised. I guess we got a bunch of new players that are a little intimidated by draft. I know in the Discord, I feel like we've gotten a lot of new players that are like, draft seems interesting, but I don't know. I feel kind of lost. So maybe that's why it took it down at the end.
I mean, I can definitely see how it's the most intimidating game mode, right? Like, you put your hard-earned gold or whatever on the line every time you do it. Like, you have to really know a lot more of the cards than if you're just playing like one deck. Even if you're playing, even knowing some of your opponent's decks, they're not playing every card. Like draft, you literally end up playing cards that you would never play otherwise, right? Like, and playing against the same. So it's definitely, I would definitely put it in the most intimidating category, especially for newer players. But man, definitely my favorite.
All right. The last poll that we got here is, what type of player do you consider yourself? And so it's Timmy or Tammy, most associated with playing for fun. Jenny or Johnny, characterized by their tendency to build complex and creative decks. Or a Spike, characterized by their competitive nature and their desire to win. So it was kind of close. We got more Spikes, it looks like. Spikes beat out Timmy's by 8-5. And then Johnny's came down as the last player type of those that voted. And I voted as a Spike. That was me.
Yeah. Do you compete in constructed events, or you're just competitive natured and limited?
Just, super competitive natured and limited.
Okay. Yeah, I really am a jack of all trades. Like it's hard to, it sounds like a cop out all the time, but I've been this way my whole life. Even when I played WoW, I was a druid. For those of you that don't know, druids can shapeshift into different animals, and then they could do different things based on that. I play all the formats, I play all the decks, and it's kind of the same way here. I think I'm probably a 40 or a 50% Spike, and then 25-25 for Timmy and Johnny, because I just do. There's sometimes you guys have been on stream with me, or even just talking with me on Discord, where I'm like, man, I just could play this deck because this sounds super fun, or like, oh man, I want to brew around this card. Let me see if I can make a deck do this. But then obviously you guys already know, hearing me on the podcast and stuff, that I want to win. I want to spike tournaments. I want to be competitive. So yeah, for me, if I had to pick one, I'd pick a Spike, but I very much have tendencies in the other two mentalities as well, or profiles. How about you, Alex or John?
I'm a lot like you, Jedi, but I mean, if I had to pick a category, I'd put myself as a Johnny. Like, I'm definitely a brewer. That being said, like, I'm always trying to win. Like, I'm not trying to just brew and see if something works. Like, I'm trying to brew to win, but I like to be creative in it. And like, I don't know. It's really hard to nail myself down, I guess, here. Like, I'm definitely part Spike, right? Like, at the end of the day, I want to win with any deck that I brew, for sure. But yeah, I'd put myself in the Johnny category. Helps that my name's John.
Fair. All right, cool. So that's going to do the poll section. So now we're kind of going to do a little bit of a year review. on this end where I got a couple questions that we're all going to answer. Kind of generic stuff that I think is kind of fun. It talks about how we feel about Eternal over the course of the past year, as well as the show and stuff. So let's start off with something a little bit light. What's your favorite artwork? John, how about you start us off on this one?
Sure, it's one of the more recent additions to the game, which I guess isn't that surprising, because I think that Direwolf has really been stepping up their art game over time.
I agree.
I think it's just been, yeah, like the quality of the art has just been going consistently up. So my pick that's in the game right now is Airmott's Designs. I think that's just a cool card. It's kind of metal, it makes me want to throw my devil horns up or something when I see it. It's a playable card too, which helps. I just think it's kind of colorful but dark. It just looks really cool to me. One of my other favorite pieces of art is still not in the game, but it's on one of those splash screens, right? It's like that Linrise Kiss. Hopefully coming out in the next set. I thought it would probably be a card in this last special set that just came out, but I don't know. Still not in the game, so.
Yeah, I like Airmont's Designs. I think it's absolutely amazing looking. Even when I saw it, I was like, ooh, that's super spicy. Alex, what's your favorite artwork?
So my favorite, it just came out in December. It was the Marius Mandrake, the promo card. It's just, I don't know. It's cute. It's like a Mandrake Santa, and he has like a baby Oni and a baby, not a baby, but like a little kid Oni, Yeti, and like human.
So my theory on why this one's your favorite is because it looks like Jabba the Hutt, and you're just such a Star Wars fan. Is that accurate?
So it looks like Jabba the Hutt. Yeah. Hey, that might be like subliminally why I liked it so much.
Right?
It's funny that you say Jabba the Hutt, because what came to me was the Clayface from the Batman animated series.
Sure.
Oh, yeah,
it definitely looks like that a little bit too. I think it's a good one. And like the story that came with it was kind of cute too. Like, I don't know. Yeah, that's a good one. Good choice.
It's a fun one.
It's so like unlike any of the other pictures in Eternal too, right? Like, it's purely for fun.
Yeah, I think that's one of the cool things that they've done with the promo cards, that they're not afraid to kind of go off the beaten path. Like, not everything has to be super serious. We've seen some promo cards that are very serious, but then we've seen some that are a lot of fun and humorous. And I think it adds a good touch to the game, a good hey, this is a card game. Remember that.
I didn't think about this when we were talking about this off the show earlier, but it is kind of like the one that you and I both said was our first promo, that just a regular Jotun.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It kind of reminds me of that, I guess, in a way. I just now thought of that.
Yeah, true. Yeah. So we both, ironically, we talked about that earlier, as John was mentioning, for us, our first promos that we earned in game was the, let me look it up now real quick, but the 3 Yetis in a coat promo.
Right.
So I thought that was funny. And I was like, okay, all right. It kind of gave me a pretty good impression of it, because I was like, all right, these people they
like to have some fun.
Yeah. So
I guess it just happened that we started playing about the same time, I guess. Yeah, just worked out.
Yep. Yeah, I don't have a promo.
Let me look it up real quick, or find the name of it.
It's just a regular Jotun.
Yeah,
is the name.
It's that's kind of funny. It's 6/6 for Yeti Giant for 6 triple primal. And it reads, when Justa takes damage and survives, sacrifice it to play a 1/1 Yeti Spy, a 2/2 Yeti Snow Chunker, and a 3/3 Slush Dumper. So obviously, 3 Yetis in a giant jacket, as you can see, one holding up the horns, one or I guess the tusks, while wearing a hat. So if you are able to hit it, obviously if you kill it, then all 3 Yetis die. But if you don't, then they get knocked out of their little coat, and then they turn into 3 Yetis. So it's
very flavorful.
Yeah, super flavorful. And it's kind of weird though, because it actually kind of feels like it should have been a good card, but I guess it's just not. I mean, I guess it has to survive. I guess that's the thing. So like, it's not insurance to a board wipe or anything like that.
No, it's like that's only going to happen if it blocks something that's attacking. I don't know. Yeah, I can kind of see why I didn't really see any play.
Yeah, I mean, it just still has some value to it, especially because if you could play it and then it breaks on blocking or even on offense, you can activate Slush Dumper. I don't know, whatever. We're going on a tangent. Okay.
Anyway,
Yeah. So mine is actually 1/2 cards. And I've talked about them quite a bit. One of them is actually the only premium legendary I've ever crafted, and that is in the form of Soul's Rest, which is the take an extra turn card. One, I like taking extra turns, so that was one of the cards I brewed with when it first came out, but I absolutely love the artwork. It has, actually, I guess I'll load it up in game while I'm talking so you guys can actually see the premium part of it. But
no, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it pretty much has the temple, I guess, of Zolta on it with the sun behind it, and the sun is just burning. Oh, it's just so good. But ironically, the other card that is my runner-up or honorable mention or something I feel like has the Son of Zolta in it as well, and that's the form of Eclipse Dragon. And the premium version of this one is ironically has the dragon in it, but the premium part actually comes with the sun that's behind the dragon, thus it's eclipsing it.
Those are two great choices as well. I'm right there with you on Eclipse Dragon, especially. I have a playset of those for the premium versions for like that Genève Spellcrag deck I mentioned earlier.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah. So they're just absolutely great. But I agree with you. I think they've really upped their game when it comes to card designs and like overall artwork. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. So, but yeah, Soul's Rest. Yeah. So it has I guess it's not a temple. I don't know what it is, like a mountain or something. It's like a plateau with spikes coming out of it. But the sun, as you guys can see if you're watching this on YouTube, has the sun behind it with like a nova blaze shooting up from the top of it. But the premium artwork on it is just absolutely amazing. Like I said, it's the only premium legendary I've ever crafted, and I don't regret it one bit. It's absolutely amazing. I actually want to play it in more decks just because it's so pretty. But yeah, that was my favorite artwork. So kudos to Direwolf Digital for putting more time and investment in their artwork. I think, yeah, it is a card game. Yes, there's a good portion of the community that doesn't care about it, but I think you're still making it to where the artwork is not super cheesy and a bunch of stick figures goes a long way, and I could very much appreciate it.
Yeah, I agree.
Diving into something a little more serious, what is the worst change for Eternal in 2019? I'll start this one off just because it's kind of weird because honestly, I was still kind of new to Eternal, so it's hard for me to say what changes were great, what changes were bad. Actually, you know what? I'm going to mention this one, but I'm actually going to change mine because one just came to mind. So I was going to mention the Twitch campaigns. And once again, I don't necessarily think they were 100% bad. I was new to streaming at the time, so it kind of helped me out. But at the same time, I can understand, I can appreciate the argument on, like, for example, Reddit and Twitter about it, where it was really changing the dynamic of Twitch, where now people were incentivized to go to other people. I don't know. It was weird. It was just I think it was one of the less than great changes because of the fact that it created so much turmoil and drama because people were fighting for time slots, and then they had to make like a spreadsheet to say when people were going to do what campaigns, and then people that had an established following were complaining because someone will pop up with a gold campaign and pull all their viewers. And it was just a lot of drama that I think didn't need to happen. Once again, I was new to the game, so I can't 100% jump on it, and I used it to my advantage as well. I will say I think I only did about 3 campaigns, and I never did Diamond. I had a hard time trying to figure out what role I wanted my campaigns to play in. So, but that's that. Do you guys have anything to add about the campaigns on Twitch real quick before I say my alibi?
That was my, that was my answer for this question. Like, I haven't played long enough to know of any other bad changes, really. I think everything else they've done, in my opinion, has basically been positive for the game. But yeah, like those Twitch campaigns were kind of a misstep there. It felt pretty dumb having to like watch a stream that I actively didn't want to watch or didn't enjoy for various reasons, just for drops. and like I would have to literally have an incognito Twitch, window up to watch the streamer I wanted to drop, but I couldn't chat. Like, it was just the whole thing was just kind of weird.
Alex, do you have anything on the campaigns?
No, not really. That didn't really bug me one way or another, but I don't have any problem with like putting it on a streamer and just turning the volume all the way down to get a drop. So
man, it must be hard work then making you one of the mods to my channel now then, huh?
No, well, Jedi, I don't do that to your channel. You know that.
Well, I know. I'm saying now you have to pay attention and stuff. It's like,
Well, you got to read chat, right? You got to make sure you try to read everything in case someone says something bad or something.
Well, plus and prevent me from punting.
Yeah, but I'm always on a delay, so I'm not really good at helping you prevent punting usually.
Yeah, and a lot of those are in situations where you're so focused on the game, you look at what chat's saying after it already happens. So I've just got the Yoda facepalm emotes ready to go for those.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it.
Yep, you got it.
I've gotten into the habit that occasionally I'll check with chat before I do something, but sometimes I'm afraid of roping because I'll talk through my thought process, and then when it's time to make a decision, I start roping. I'm like, oh no. So
you're like, get rope, nerds.
Yeah, boom, there you go. Shout out to the misplay. All right, so the alibi one that came to mind is actually a balance change, which I think, sadly, actually, there's no thinking about it. I actually did do it. It killed the card, and this is Statuary Maiden. Statuary Maiden was a 2/4 Gorgon at Legendary for 4 Shadow Fire. She has Deadly. And then she reads, enemy units can't entomb or revenge, so it locks them up. And then it has the additional text of, when an enemy unit dies, transform it into a 2/2 cudgel and draw it. So this card was a really strong card. Essentially, yeah. Especially in Stone Scar or Winchest, you were able to kill your opponent's units and then it transformed them into cudgels and you drew it. So it gave you card advantage while also being really good at Void Hate. And it was a very strong card. A 2/4 with Deadly was tussled quite well with the format. This card was good. I think it was strong, don't get me wrong, but it was manageable. There have been times where I played it and I won the game, and there were times where I played it and it did nothing, and the same thing on the opposite side of the board. The problem is that when it stuck around and did its thing, it felt super oppressive, so I could see why they felt like they needed to nerf it. But the problem is that it also kept Void synergies in check. It was good to get in the mirror because obviously Winchest had the display to reoccur a bunch of cards, and that's super powerful, and etc. So I think it served a solid role. And then actually it was kind of weird because if I remember correctly, they nerfed it in a bit of a downswing where Maiden was very much a meta call. Sometimes Maiden
the timing was weird on that nerf.
Yeah, so there are times where Maiden is everywhere, and then there were times where you barely saw Maiden, kind of like Vara, kind of like Reanimator. And then just kind of out of the blue, they were like, hey, by the way, Maiden is now a 2/2. So they left everything the same, I believe. I don't think they changed anything else if I remember, but they changed it from a 2/4 to a 2/2. And that just, believe it or not, it just completely crushed the card because it just died to so many more cards now, and it was so much easier to kill, and now you're paying 4 for a 2/2 that is probably not going to stick around because obviously you had to do something that it had to stick around for the effect to happen. If you played it past the turn and your opponent killed it, then it did absolutely nothing for you. And that was part of the check and balances of it. Obviously the best thing would be something like turn 5, play it, and then torch there's something, or turn 7, or turn 6, play it and annihilate. But of course, those were still corner cases. And yeah, they nerfed it to a 2/2, and it just didn't see any play. I still tried playing it. You felt the difference. And then they bumped it back up to a 2/3 at some point, which I think was a little bit better. But by that point, once again, the meta had shifted where you didn't want to play her anyways, and so she's never seen play since.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about that timing issue, right? Like everyone thought that it was kind of oppressive, like you say, but yeah, like when they decided to actually nerf it, it was already kind of out of the meta for various reasons. So yeah, I can see your point there for sure. I never have like played a deck with the card, but you know, I've been on the other side of it plenty, and I mean I didn't like playing against it, that's for sure. But I thought it probably needed some kind of nerf at some point. But yeah, when they did it and the amount that they did, I thought it was a little extreme, I guess. I think one of the better things about it as a 2/4, right, was that you could just use it as a very good blocker. Like it just shut down a lot of aggressive decks just by existing. Like yeah, it just dies to removal and does nothing sometimes. You know, that's kind of a risk of playing the card, but like just as a standalone card, it was basically like a Vara, right? That just stonewalled aggro, and while at the same time it could generate cards for your hand to do market stuff. So I mean, they definitely needed to do something to it.
Yeah, I think, like I said, when it's going off, it felt very oppressive. Like your units were not being able to entomb or revenge, or you couldn't bring them back, and then they were getting an extra card that they could easily play to make one of their units bigger, or they can send it to the market. So the card felt very good for sure. There's no doubt about it. But once again, like you said, like Baby Vara can be extremely oppressive against the right deck as well. So same thing with things like Sandstorm Titan or Heart of the Vault. So I think it just fit a role. And like I said, I think the biggest part of that, like we both mentioned, is that it just came in the part where it was on a downswing, so it wasn't even seeing play, so it was kind of random. But oh well. Yeah. All right, enough about that, because half the people that are listening to this probably don't even know what that card is. So let's move on.
Yeah, I haven't seen it since the nerf.
I might try to bring it back. I wonder if it's good in this meta. We'll see. I might find out maybe. All right, Alex.
The issue as a 2/3 is, you know, like these 3/3s, which is kind of the two drop stat line. They can just swing into it and kill it, right? Like I think that 2/3 really kills the card still.
I mean, she has deadly, so it's still going to trade. But obviously, dying the torch, that was the biggest thing, was the fact that now I could die to torch, I guess. So you had a window where you can keep it alive versus like. Well, anyway, I digress. We're talking too much. Yeah. Sorry. Alex, what's your biggest mistake from Eternal this year? Or, you know, what the worst change for Eternal?
Well, for me, it's a very selfish one, because I think it's good for the game in general, is the humongous size of the draft packs. It makes draft feel a little bit like the Wild Wild West, how you describe Throne. But I understand it being tied to Expedition, and like it lets that format be fresh. That's about to change when the new set comes out. So John will get to brew a whole bunch of new stuff again.
Yes.
So like my biggest bad thing that Eternal did is, you know, that's something I understand is necessary, I guess. But it was, you know, for me it's bad.
I get that. Okay. Having them be so big is kind of a turn off, especially for a lot of people that don't draft very often. But I get why they did it, and like I like the fact that they're trying something different, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I can totally see your stance on that.
We'll find out when the next set drops and they modify, like what kind of modifications we see to the creative packs. I guess we'll find out if they felt this project was a success or not. Obviously, they still took limited into consideration the fact that there are cards that are ×3 boosted, and then they modified them to ×5, because we in general as a community didn't feel like those packs were consistent enough for our liking. So they are taking note of that. So I guess, like I said, I don't mind them experimenting. I don't mind it at all. I'd rather they experiment and be a little bold and be willing to make mistakes to find out what works better and what doesn't, than for them to be kind of stagnant and not innovate. So like I said, we'll find out in the next set what their plans are for Expedition and the draft packs, the creative packs, and see if they felt this was a success or a failure or not so great, and they're modifying it. All right, let's keep moving on. What was the best change for Eternal? So initially I wrote all three formats being viable for organized play. I think that was huge. because obviously now you can kind of pick your poison on how you want to grind to the top and still able to compete against your friends for some rewards. I won't talk too much into it because obviously, Alex, you kind of mentioned that for drafting. So the other thing I'm going to mention is that I think it's great that they have pushed the game to multiple platforms, releasing it on Switch, releasing it on PC. Xbox, PlayStation, like just giving everyone every opportunity they possibly can to play the game is huge for bringing it. Like, you know,
That's a good point.
once again, not to talk about Magic too much, but one of the biggest things that problems that Moto had, and then now Arena, is that it's strictly limited to PC, and I think maybe one console, I don't know, but long story short, so many people didn't play because it's limited on the platform that they can play it on. So them releasing it on everything that they possibly could was huge for the game. I think that's the right path. I think making all the cross-platform accounting is awesome as well. So the fact that you don't have to grind multiple collections, you literally can just have your one collection, play it on any platform you want, I think is absolutely awesome. So I do it myself. I'll play at PC when I'm home, but if I'm on the road, I don't mind getting on mobile and cranking out some games and stuff like that. So I think it's absolutely a great thing for them, and I commend them for pushing the, I don't know, production side of it, I guess, or whatever it is, to go cross platform.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I mean, I started off as an Xbox player in this game, and now I play on Xbox, Steam, and mobile. But yeah, primarily Xbox, actually.
Sweet, John. What was your best change for Eternal?
Yeah, kind of. It's weird because we talked about one of the worst things being like those weird Twitch campaigns, but actually, I think Twitch drops is one of the best changes for Eternal during the year. Like they came around right as I was picking up the game, and man, just hanging out in Twitch and like learning how to play the game and like meeting this great community, and then you just get free stuff while you're doing it. That is so good. Like made this amazing free to play game even freer, if that was even possible. Love it.
I like it. Yeah, I think it's great. It incentivizes people to participate in the community, to watch people play the game that is a proponent of the game itself, different modes and things like that. For example, myself, Cassandra Kalebovich, other Gibbon Plus Plus, we get people into Limited because they watch us and they're like, you know what, this doesn't seem as bad as I thought it was. I want to try this. So yeah, I think that incentivized to give people more free stuff in an already free to play friendly game is great.
Yeah. It's crazy, like how much they're willing to give away for this game. Love.
Alex, what do you got?
Well, for me, it was the path that they created for someone. You can play just limited, just draft, and make it to the big show. So even just by qualifying Masters once, I think that got you in. I think. And
yeah,
then
that qualifies you for a tournament later on in the year.
you can if you get top 100 certain amount of times in a row, if you do that like 8 times, I think you get enough points to get a bye.
Mm-hmm.
And then even more, they like structured how you get points each month. And then what are they, the ECQ points, whatever they're called, that you like accrue each month, like
QCPs.
QCPs, just the invention of that, I think, which is fairly recent, but I think it was a very good thing that they did.
Yeah, it's something for everybody and for all types of players as well. You can spike a tournament, you can grind, you can play whatever format you want. It's another thing of them, even though it was slow coming, they listened to the community and they did it. They heard that people want to organize play, and they came back with a vengeance, to the point where some people are even complaining like, oh my God, this is too much organized play. So kudos to Direwolf for definitely knocking it out of the park there, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Let's talk about our favorite cards to draft next. How about that?
All right. Why don't you start us off then there, hero?
Well, I mean, you should start off because you actually picked my answer. So why don't you go first?
What? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, mine is, well, let me put it up on the screen. One of my favorite cards to the draft is Kasul Beastmaster. This card
Yes,
was
sir.
this card was a few sets back in a it was in Defiance, which was a tri-faction limited format. And much like how we have the 2-color signpost in this format, there were the 3-color signpost in that format. And Kasul Beastmaster is a 5/5 shaman at common for 5 fire justice primal, so Ixten. And then it has Overwhelm. So 5/5 Overwhelm for 5 is already good, but it has Renown. So whenever it gets targeted by a spell under attachment you control, play a 2/2 Flying Squirrel. So this card was just awesome to me.
Yep.
It's exactly it's exactly the way I want to play. I want to play big units. I want to play the big, like, raw units. And then a big unit having Overwhelm means it can't be chump blocked, so that feels great to me because there's absolutely nothing worse than being like, "Rawr, here's a 6/6 or a 7/7," and then being like, "Cool, my 1/1 gets in the way," and then I crack you. I swing back with all my board. I'm like, "No!" And then a big unit, they have to double or triple block to get it off the board. Or typically in limited, right? Once again, we're talking about limited and constructed. They might have a removal spell or whatnot, but so you have a combat trick that typically sometimes does it, they're always kind of sketchy. They're a little bit better in Eternal, but so you have a combat trick that you want to play on your big unit anyways. So you do that, and then the Renown gives you a flyer, an invasive unit. So you get card advantage. Dude. Like this card.
Oh my God.
And then of course, like, hey, it's a cute flying squirrel, but like this card is so good. It did everything you wanted to do. And it wasn't an auto include. Like it's tri-faction requirement. So there was a little bit of setup, but like, yeah, this card is just, man, a limited, like 10 out of 10 for me on limited. This is one of my favorite cards to draft. And when you had 3 or 4 in your deck plus 2 or 3 pump spells, you just were like, there's no way I can lose this game. Like, just no way.
No, I love that card, man. Like, Defiance was it was still my favorite set to draft. It was basically when I started playing. I mean, I drafted once, I think, in the prior set. It was like right when I started playing, but I mean, I drafted the heck out of Defiance, and like the Ixten Renown deck was easily my favorite. Like, nothing felt better than just smashing your Beastmaster into the opponent, having them like think they've got you with their finest hour or whatever, and then you have the Ixten display on top of it that just one-ups their thing, and then you get a flyer that also gets to attack next turn. Oh my God, this card is awesome.
Yeah. Oh, this card was such a groan test for me on the other side of the board. Whenever they played it, I'm just looking at my hand, looking at my board, be like, I think I just lose.
Yeah. So that was also my actual first pick, but I'll pick something else since you already covered that one.
You should have filled out the show notes sooner, bud.
Yep, that's my bad, I guess. So I think the pre-nerf changey stick gets my vote then.
Ooh,
I mean, it's still
yeah.
great post nerf, but that was also something that you could slap on the Beastmaster and have 2 flying things.
Plus a pseudo removal spell, like
And name another card that needed to get nerfed because of draft, right?
Yeah.
Like Beastmaster, maybe.
we're all about value here, and 2-for-1s and 3-for-1s on EternalJourney, and man, we're so hellacious. We're evil.
Yeah, and speaking of evil, I mean, if I had to pick a runner-up, Heretic's Cannon was another one of my favorite cards.
Real quick, hold on for those listening. Changey Stick is a +1/+1 weapon at common for 2 primal. It has flying, so it gives a baseline. It gives the unit +1/+1 flying and triggers Renown. But then Spellcraft, you could pay 5, so 7 total to play Polymorph, which turns a unit into a 1/1 frog.
So that used to cost 4. So it was like 6 total for the Spellcraft effect, which in that format, getting to 7 power was not an easy task necessarily, because you were getting Beastmastered, before that happened or whatever. So yeah, that's one of the few cards I could think of that literally got nerfed because of how powerful it was in draft.
Yep.
So Changey Stick is in the current format, and I mean, it's still super good. Like, I'm never passing a changey stick. Basically, like I'm trying to splash that card or whatever.
It's not boosted
But
though, right?
man, no, definitely not.
I was gonna say, I was like, I barely see it.
Yeah, it's not one you see very often, and it's a common, but no, it's not like a ×5 boosted. It's in the giant draft packs that we mentioned earlier that Alex was talking about.
All right.
I would
So,
like if it cost 8.
right, yeah. Yeah, eight's a hard ask in most draft formats, but this one it's like 7 seems like you get to 7 relatively often, so I think it's very, very playable still. I mean, it was still playable after they nerfed it in the Defiance format too.
Yeah, it's really nice when they can hit that sweet spot of a nerf where the card is fair now and you could still play it. It always feels bad when they nerf a card, then you just can't play it anymore.
Yeah, totally. No, this was a good and probably much needed change.
Alex, what's yours? Well, actually, real quick, just to talk about Heretics, and since John mentioned it, it's a +2/+2 weapon at uncommon for 6 and fire. So single fire influence definitely made this card part broken. It gives a unit, once again, +2/+2 and overwhelm. And then when the wielder attacks, double its attack this turn. So similar to the Stone Powder Heretic, it's actually the cannon he has in the artwork. So they just made an equipment and it made it way better than even the Gunslinger Oni on his own. This card won so many games. But
yeah, that's like what all these cards we talked about just now basically have in common is like they all just basically win you the game.
All right, Alex, what's your card?
For me, let's see. Well, first off, great card choice with the Kasul Beastmaster. That was like a very fun set to draft. That was like the first time I hit Masters, I think. But for me, it was Corrupted Behemoth. Solid, solid unit that just came down and stabilized your board and let you cast your other things and win the game.
It's the Coastal Beastmaster of that set.
Yeah. And then like a close second was Grodov's favorite in the current set. It's like
the Corrupted Behemoth of this set.
Right.
A Corrupted Behemoth is a 4/6 dinosaur at common for 5 and time. It has overwhelm. Are you catching a pattern? All of our cards, all of our cards said overwhelm minus the changing stick, but it has flying. That's fine. And then pay 3 and twist Corrupted Behemoth to gain 2 life. So twisting gives it a +1 attack and -1 health. Yeah, Corrupted Behemoth, like you can slam as many of these in your deck as you wanted to. It did it all. It stabilized you. It gained you life. It attacked well. The premium artwork is pretty legit with the dark energies vibrating off of the Tyrannosaurus Rex. So yeah, I good call, Alex.
Yeah, it's a great pick. It's like a little better all around than these other cards we talked about because it can help you stabilize, not just win the game. Like most of the cards we mentioned are basically good at helping you win and not as good at other times. But yeah, Corrupted Behemoth was powerhouse. Like it stabilized you with its stat line in that format, and then you could over time regain the advantage and then start attacking with it and winning with it. It was super powerful.
Yep, love that card.
Yeah, it's so good. Nice. I like that one. Good call, guys.
Yeah,
I like those.
Great choices.
See, there you go. That's where our limited focus shines. We picked some awesome draft cards.
OP draft cards.
Meanwhile, the people that are new to the show or still in Constructor are like, "What are these cards? Why are they good?"
Hey, Changey Stick has been played against me at least once in Expedition.
All right. So getting back to a year review podcast, let's go ahead and just move on this. What is your favorite Eternal Journey episode?
So mine so far was the Fox commons and uncommons set review. It helped me really get a good, first base on the format. I like the numbers breakdown that you did at the beginning, like of the toughness that creatures had and the spells that affect those types of creatures or units. Sorry. Yeah, it was just a good set review. Can't wait to join you on the next one. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, you're gonna have to tell the missus, be like, "Hey, I'm gonna lock myself in the room for about half a day. I'll just slide some food and water underneath the door."
Right.
Just tell her not to overuse the water heater or you'll start sweating.
We're gonna save that. Oh man, already inside joke out there already. All right, we'll leave him guessing for right now.
Right.
John, what's your favorite EJ episode?
So yeah, I'm gonna say mine was a recent one, Better Than Six, and that was just because I got to hang out with you in the studio, and also for those that watch these on YouTube, you got to see me cosplay that one as a stormtrooper. So that one was super fun. And easy runner up to that, besides the in-person experience, was the more recent episode where we talked to Nrash 1 for far too long. That one was super fun.
You know what? I didn't get a single complaint about the show being too long. Not a one. So it's funny that you mentioned that one because that was actually one of the ones that I considered, but I copped out a little bit easier. And you guys are going to grunt. Well, I mean, you guys saw it in the show note, but I didn't say why. Anywho, but yeah, it was great having you in the studio. It was a lot of fun. It really is super exciting for me to, I don't know, it's just something weird. Like, we're still kicking it. We didn't do anything that different that we do on the show, but just having in the same place made it like a little kind of like the Sizzle and Eric effect, any money effect,
Yeah.
So
yeah, that would probably easily be my favorite if I was able to be there with you guys. I'm sure
We'll get there eventually.
we will.
yeah, maybe one day we can actually do like a live panel. We'll do like an Eternal Journey get together and meet up, and then we'll just have a table with all three mics, and then just have the crowd sitting there in a live studio audience.
All the Jedi fangirls.
Moving on. Mine is actually episode 43, which is the Flame of Zulto archetypes. And this is my favorite episode because this is actually the first time that both of you guys came on the show as my official co-host. And it just was an absolute delight. It felt so much better not having to talk to the voices in my head and actually have dialogue with people that I jive with. Obviously, we took a chance. We had some conversations via text, but we never just sat down and recorded and had conversations live. And we jived very well. We've grown to become quite good friends. And yeah, it was just the start of something awesome. And I think the viewership can agree, or listener base can agree, that it was one of the best changes to happen in Eternal Journey. I'm super glad to have you guys. So that's my favorite episode of the year.
Aw.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't realize it was that one exactly. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I need to get a soundboard so I could put like the sitcom crowd going, "Aw."
We tried to fill it in for you there, but
Yeah, you guys did great. All right, next up, what is the biggest level up moment of this year for you?
Okay.
Alex, start us off on this one.
Well, for me, it was like, so what happened is I swear that like I had searched Eternal podcasts and stuff like that, and it must have been right before you and Patrick and the Misplay had started, because there was nothing that was like, well, Misplay is not really limited, but there was like nothing out there that was Eternal limited. So like I was like, oh, I guess no one's making a podcast about this stuff. Go about my business playing Eternal, and then I get paired up against Ben Glacier in a game, and it was a really good game. I think I won, if I remember correctly, and then I friend requested him after, and I was like gonna be like, dude, that was an awesome game or whatever. So he responded. He's like, hey, there's a podcast, Farming Eternal. You should send any 7-win deck list to them. And then like that opened up this whole new world of, oh my gosh, there's people making content. And like, I think that's definitely improved my game. Like, I've made masters ever since then, like every month. And just, there's so many good people out there that are very good at this game that I've picked up a lot of stuff on. So I think that's just a general overall level up, just joining the community. And it's just made me a better player, and the community's awesome. So yeah, it's just great.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, I'm really glad Ben like reached out to me. I don't remember if he friend requested me or something. I was gonna be like, oh, is this guy gonna yell at me or something? I don't remember. But yeah, like he was super nice, and
He probably knew your deck was super strong and about to get 7 wins, and he's like, hey, we need this.
Maybe yeah, I was like the 19th person like on their Discord, and then that opened me up, and from there I met Jedi because they're like, "Ooh, Darth Herman and Jedi," blah blah, you know.
Natural enemies
Yeah, so that made me like
or BFFs.
quick like oh, this guy's cool, and then Jedi's stream is awesome, and the community there is awesome, so it's just been awesome. That's all I got to say about that.
Actually, if I think there's any Discord rivalry, I think it's between Jed the Homrid and myself, since we always get mistagged in Discord.
Yeah, when you try to at one of you guys, you always get the other one.
Yeah, before I picked up on what was going on, there were a couple times where I'm like scrolling up, trying to read the conversation, being like, why am I tagged in this? I don't understand what I'm supposed to answer.
That's funny.
Yeah, John, what's your biggest level up moment?
Okay, so mine's a little more of a technical thing, and specific to Eternal. So like learning to sniff out and nail down opponent pauses and therefore specific cards to play around, especially during limited and draft games, but I mean just in the game in general. As well as learning how and when to specifically hide that information from my opponent. Like if I'm holding a combat trick, so you can play out your units first. If you know you're going to attack, like maybe they're out of power for this turn, and so like your board just gets to attack for free here. So in that case, you want to hide your trick in your hand. Don't show them the pause. To make them keep second guessing all their plays going forward, right? Like learning how to do that on both sides was a huge level up moment for me as far as being an Eternal player.
Yeah, mine's actually kind of similar to that as well. Mine comes along the fact that when it comes to combat, fast spells happen at the same time. There's no pass priority type thing. And so it sounds very subtle, but it adjusted the way I blocked, because initially I was blocking and attacking with the mindset of like, oh, okay, they have to make the play first and then I can respond, et cetera, et cetera. But the fact that in Eternal, there's no like priority, so to speak. Anyone can play anything at any time. It actually was a pretty big level up moment for me, because now I stopped using blocks where I was forced to do something. And so I could play around that, or I can double block to force the issue and then force them to make the play first, and sometimes you just play chicken with your opponent. You're like, cool, I'm good with this trade. Are you going to do something? And then you can respond. And believe it or not, that's actually added quite a few win percentage points to my gameplay, because like I said before, I used to expect a certain order of things. And so I would block or not block and do things. And it's a minute change, but I really have seen a lot more success because of it. And once again, I play my game differently, knowing that little bit of knowledge that's not really a surface thing. It's not clear cut. But once you start playing and get a little bit of experience, it's those little secondary tips and tricks that you get to up your play style and help you play a little bit better against those opponents. So
yeah, that's a great one. I'm right there with you. There is one thing I'd like to add here, which is kind of specific to this new set as far as combat tricks go, because it's related to the decimate ability. So when your opponent has the option to play, let's say, for example, Draw Strength or another fast spell like that with Decimate, like Cast into Shadow, when they go to cast that spell, on their screen it pops up with a to decimate or not to decimate. During that time, you know that that they're doing this because you lose the ability to try and play your fast spell, right? So there's like an even bigger like exclamation point on your screen, like, hey, this opponent has this exact card, and that should even further influence your decision whether or not to play your fast spell, whatever that may be, like maybe a teleport, maybe a draw strength of your own, whatever. So yeah, like you said, it's kind of a cat and mouse game, but with the whole decimate mechanic, it is even more apparent what's about to happen to you, so you can play around it even more. And that's not something that's apparent to most players. Even like I think I was explaining this to you earlier off air, and like you didn't know about this one, right, Jedi? So
No, it's news to me. I didn't realize it. So yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah, sure, my pleasure.
All right. So that's going to bring us towards our last two questions. One, my co-hosts don't know because I like to surprise them and throw a little bit of realism. But this last one, second to last one, is what is the most memorable facepalm of the year? And for mine, you guys were both there. And I'm going to slightly blame it on streaming a little bit because it's something I normally don't do. And of course, I got punished for it. So that's exactly why I normally don't do it. But we're playing a game, draft, and we're Rakano. We're going up against an opponent, which ironically I think popped in the chat afterwards to rub ins. But we had the opportunity to we played a Shavka Evangel, which is the 2/2 Berserk on turn 2. And then we gave it some kind of weapon or something because it was pretty big. And then we were able to give it double damage. And so I don't remember now. I wish I need to find the clip and remember what. Long story short, we had the ability of going like all out in one turn and just completely like doing 20 damage to our opponent. And I normally don't do it because it's high risk, high reward. And I was like, there's too many ways to get blown out. But I was streaming, and of course, there's entertainment value. So I need to do some of the things that the viewers won't do. So I was like, all right, fine, we'll do it. We'll totally go in for the all-in play. And it was Sledge. That's what it was. It was Shavka Evangel into Sledge, not spellcrafted, and then play the Cover Fire
Ryujin's
Marksman.
Choice?
No, Cover Fire Marksman, giving it double damage shifted.
That's right. I remember this.
And so I was like, okay, we'll see what happens. Well, our opponent only has one unit in play, and then they pass it, or we pass the turn, and there's no pause. So,
right, you were sniffing for the pause like we were just talking about.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, okay.
No pause.
Yeah, they passed it. No, they didn't have enough power to take out our unit. It was literally just a stalwart and, the 1/4, and our guy was a 5/2. So I was like, oh yeah, it's going to happen. And
yeah.
I was like, okay, no pause, so they don't have a trick. Like, I guess they're just stuck on influence or something. Like, we're good to go. So I'm like, all right, entertainment value, we're doing it. And I go all in on this double damage, 5 coming across with Berserk. So we're going to do 20 damage to our opponent. And then they play Barricade. Completely blowing out the play, killing my Evangel, not getting a Berserk trigger, not killing their Stalwart, triggering the mastery on their Stalwart, and I just end up proceeding to like never be able to come back because it just threw off our game plan completely. And so it literally, like, I didn't tilt, but I just laughed so hard because I didn't want to do the play from beginning. I didn't like it, but hey, entertainment value. We did everything we could to mitigate it. And then they had literally the perfect combat trick that because it's only played on a blocking unit, there's no way to see that they had it in their hand. And it made their Stalwart big enough so it didn't die. Oh, it was just a complete blowout. Like I facepalmed.
I think chat was egging you on that one too. I mean, we're all like, there's no pause, like, do it. What are you doing? Come on, let's go. And then I think you even followed up with the sweet Pikachu let's go stream thing you have, right? Like, to hype it up even further. And then you got so wrecked, like
completely wrecked. There was just no coming back from that. It was such a card disadvantage at that point. But all right,
that was a good one.
Alex, what's your biggest facepalm?
Well, I couldn't really think of one. But I know I've done what I said for sure. Where I
don't know. This one's a pretty good facepalm.
Well, so I'd leave it to me to find different ways for this to happen. I horn aplenty away my hostile takeover unit. Like
so,
like forgetting that I had hostile, taking it over hostily a few turns ago and being like, oh yeah. Yay, you top deck your Horn of Plenty and you're like, oh, that's just the damage I need with this flyer.
Yes.
That now disappears and like immediately it's like, oh, okay.
Where'd my guy go?
Right, yeah, you know immediately what you did, but
can you explain the what hostile takeover does for our listeners?
So hostile takeover, it's a curse, right? or is it a spell? I don't know.
It's a curse.
It's a curse, yeah.
So it's a curse. It's weird because it's counterintuitive and you don't think that it would happen this way, but it takes a control of a unit with power or sword 4 or less, attack 4 or less. And if it goes over that at any moment, it immediately you lose control of it. So Horn of Plenty becomes a 5/5 or whatever, and it's like there's no pause. It's like brutal. It's like immediately gone from your side. It's like
it's me. Yeah.
It should be like, are you sure you want? There should be like, are you sure you want to play this card?
Nope. You just got to learn that one the hard way. I think everybody learned that one the hard way at one time or another.
Yep. That's pretty big.
Some people take a lot of repeat learnings to figure that one out.
Yeah. If it makes you feel any better, that I had a similar play with that card. This was actually during the ECQ. I got it off of I got it off of Incarnus, and I took their Carvet. But I mean, I was losing this game. Like it was literally me just playing turn to turn, not to die. And then I think I had their Carvet for like something like 4 or 5 turns. It was ridiculously long, and I had a cultist that died. So I had the Exalted trigger, and I only had 2 units. I think I had the Incarnus and the Carvet. And so I was like, well, I need the lifesteal. Like, I'm dying, so more lifesteal seems good to me. So I put like the +1/+1. Yeah, sure enough, you already know where this is going. I put it on the Carvet, completely forgetting that it was their Carvet. And in my defense, once again, I also had Carvet in my deck. So there was like multiple levels to this. So I played it on the Carvet and immediately went over. And it took me a good 15 seconds to figure out what happened. I was like, wait, what? And then I was like, oh no, that was never my Carvet. Oh. So,
yeah, honestly, I thought Alex was talking about a play you did or whatever, but I guess he was talking about a play he did.
Oh, thanks.
Mine's a play you did. I thought these were all Jedi face palms. So.
Oh, I thought this was like our own personal face.
No, it wasn't all Jedi face palms. This is not the burn. This is not a roast. Jeez.
It's not. Oh, oops.
Thanks, John.
Well, mine's definitely a Jedi face palm because like I don't make mistakes personally, so.
Booyah.
He just plays super hard decks and then complains about his opponents having a good draw.
All right, so this was a fun Jedi moment.
Oh, great!
I'm gonna try and do a direct quote here, but I might mess this up a little bit. All right, okay. So next turn, I'll swap this power for the answer for my market. All right, and then the turn starts. You play the power and instant facepalm.
Oh God, you told. Oh, all right. So I'll go ahead. I'll roast myself on this one. This is during the Tuesday Night Eternal Invitational. So the best of the best. I have no idea how I made it into this tournament. By the way, we're playing. I'm playing Huru, Knife Bloom's Huru, Aegis / Renown deck.
It's like
it's pretty much like a bunch of Renown units and Savagery for awesome value. And I'm talking through my plays. We're going up against like a very good win chest opponent. And I'm like, cool. Our hand is perfect. If we draw power off the top, we're great. We'll play our merchant, go to the market, ship the sigil that we don't need for XYZ, something awesome. And then we're good to go. Our hand is just busted. So I say that. Our opponent passes the turn. We draw the sigil. I once again repeat it. Yeah, this is awesome. Here's our sigil just the way we planned. We'll send it to the market, grab this, and then we'll do this. And as soon as I finish saying that, I immediately proceed to play the sigil, triggering Empower on Hojin, get in for 4 lifesteal. I'm like, yeah. And then I go to play my merchant, and I'm like, oh my God.
I think you literally facepalmed.
Oh yeah, I 100% facepalmed. I double facepalmed.
That was so good, and I think it's fair to poke a little fun at you there because you literally took down the whole tournament. So at the end of the day,
oh my God,
didn't even matter.
I instantly tilted. Like that was 100. Like I facepalmed to control my tilt. I took a minute. If you guys want to check the VOD, it's up on YouTube. You can check the video. It's in I think the semifinals. I literally took a second and just went through like meditative state, woo-sawing to not tilt. And chat even said it. Chat was like, "You need to relax, chill out. It's all good. It's all good." I was like, "I just said the play twice and still did the completely wrong thing."
I did the thing, guys. All right. Well, while we were talking about that, I came up with one for myself. So I'll go. Let's be fair. I'll go ahead and say a huge facepalm for me was the first Expedition ECQ about 2 months ago. I was on track to top 64 it. This was my first ECQ to ever compete in. Like, I wasn't around really, or didn't have the collection to do any of the competitive organized play from last season. So this was my first ECQ. I was just killing it. I was cruising through my games. I was wrecking everybody, and I literally just ran out of time. So,
oh no.
massive facepalm there. So learned my lesson and top 64 the next one with a little time to spare. So
you were like 17-4 or something when that happened.
I can't recall the exact record off the top of my head, but like I was just cruising. Like I was feeling real good.
It was you were doing good. You were on pace for sure.
Yeah, I was on pace. I mean, anything can happen, obviously, but like, you know, if I even remotely kept up with the pace, I was definitely in a top 64 that one. So yeah, just literally ran out of time. It was just nothing but cultist smears. Like the games were going 30 plus minutes. Like, and what game of Eternal lasts 30 minutes?
And it's funny because we were on Discord talking while I was playing some of my games. I was like, "When are you gonna play?" You're like, "Yeah, I'm just waiting, checking out the field."
Yeah, you know, I'm like having my coffee. You know, I want to be nice and alert for my games. No, 30-minute games, but all morning long.
All right,
ran out of time.
Let's move on because this is starting to get a little late. The last question I have, which is a surprise one for our co-host, so I will start it off first to give you guys a little bit of time to come up with a good answer. But what is the worst thing about working with Jedi? So I'm gonna give you guys a quick 30-second reprieve to figure that one out. I like how both you got extremely quiet. So for me, the worst thing about working with Jedi is that Jedi comes up with so many ideas. My brain is constantly going, and at work, I sometimes don't have a form of entertainment, or my brain just wanders, and so I'm constantly coming up with ideas for new content, ideas for decks, ideas for all the things I want to do to support the community and just better interact with our listeners. And so you can imagine that our Discord channel is just constantly, "Hey, what about this? How do you guys feel about that? Would you guys be interested in doing this?" And it's I can just imagine that Jedi, you need to chill out. You really do. There's only 24 hours in the day, 7 days a week. Pull it back some. So
yeah, that's a good one. I mean, just imagine though if none of us were the idea man in the group, like what would ever come of this?
I don't know. A lot of fun bad beat stories about Eternal.
True, but hey, you know, we need you. We need your ideas. But yeah, no, you do have a lot of ideas. That's a good one.
All right, Alex, you're really quiet. I'm gonna put you on the spot. What's the worst thing about working with Jedi for you?
Well, I guess what comes along with all those ideas is that you need to like get a lot of rest, I guess.
Oh no. Oh.
Or like your alarm clock sometimes because of your numerous cat naps, dude. All day, every day. You know, if your like Discord light is a moon, that like is like, oh, that's a Jedi sleeping symbol.
Yeah, pretty much, right? All the rest of the time it's playing Eternal card game.
Hey man, I get in my games when I can, but yeah, Alex is talking about I don't really have a sleep schedule. I just power nap throughout the day because I work at night and work during the day and go to school. And so yeah, I could all right, fair. I can believe that. There've been
so many naps.
There's been more than once where we've had to push back a recording time because I didn't wake up to my alarm. So fair.
Luckily, we're some flexible dudes, but yeah.
No doubt. All right, fair enough. I could appreciate that. All right, what do you got, John?
Yeah, both of your answers were spot on. So I'll just have to pick something else. Well, I'm not trying to spoil anything here, but let's just say I have the same issue as our friend Sizzle Steam. And with that, let's have Parmalee take it away.
Wow. I'm absolutely speechless. I'm blown away. That was so selfless and thoughtful and kind of you guys to do and completely unexpected. So thank you. Thank you, Jason and Mark. You guys are absolutely great. You're great for the Eternal community. Your content is fantastic. I listen to your podcast all the time. It's great to have you guys just around. You guys are good friends. And yeah, thank you so much, guys. Thank you. All right. Before I blush anymore, what's this? It's a secret you guys have in the show notes.
Yeah, we have a secret. We have a secret segment for you, dude.
Do you want?
Secret segment. Get wrecked.
Get wrecked. All right. So I sent out a few private messages on Discord to like a few folks and like basically asked them for something about Jedi, what they'd want to say to you if they can like get the chance to just say something on your 50th episode here of Eternal Journey.
Are you serious right now?
Yeah, we're totally serious, man. We got some of your best, Eternal friends. I mean, you're so out there in the community. Like, how can you not have a bunch of people that want to say something to you, on your special episode?
Oh God, that's scary and exciting all at the same time.
Yeah,
I'm not.
You're gonna love it. It's good. It's all good. Let's see here.
I'm not very good at being in the center of attention. This is not working.
Well, you
for
got
me.
it. So get ready.
All right. All right. I'm gonna read. This is what Chewbacca 1 said about you. Chewie hangs out in the chat.
Heck yeah, always catches me on his lunch break.
He's in the Discord too. Let's see here. Jedi is a fantastic player, an awesome streamer, and has the most luxurious hair and lumberjack beard only a few guys can only dream of. So
there you go.
That's from Chewie. There's some love from Chewie.
Much love. Thank you so much, Chewie.
All right. You want to read one there, John?
Yeah, I've got one here from fellow podcaster from Farming Eternal, Hats on Lamps. He says, "You have been such an inspiration to me. You're endlessly kind and generous, and you made me want to start streaming and making content myself. Happy graduation."
No kidding.
Yeah.
Holy cow, that's a huge compliment. I had no idea. I have mad respect for Hats on Lamps, considering he's such an awesome. Wow, I cannot believe
the current number one Eternal drafter.
Yeah, I cannot believe I inspired him to stream. That is wow.
Yeah. Keep coming. What you got, Alex?
Let's see here. So this is from Raven Dragon. Let's see here. Jedi is positive, kind, and humble asset to the Eternal community. He is an avid content creator and provides a positive view to the community in any situation. Jedi's contributions to the Eternal community reminds us all that the fellowship of friends, competitors, and just those around us is more important than winning or losing. Jedi supports other content creators as well as promoting his own content for the Eternal community. May the Force always be with you, Jedi. So that was from Raven Dragon.
Oh man,
all right.
Jeez,
that's too sweet.
Yeah, for real. That like pulling at the heartstrings right there.
Right?
Thank you, Raven Dragon.
Great.
Yeah, she's awesome.
I told her, I was like, "Oh my gosh, that gave me goosebumps." And she's like, "And you know what's cool? It's all true." It was like,
it is.
Oh my gosh,
Oh God, hold on.
I've got another one here. No, hold on. You're gonna just take this for a few minutes.
Oh jeez. All right.
This is like a reverse roast, so get reversed.
How the heck am I uncomfortable via like remote? I'm like sweating right now.
So this one's from our most recent guest, Papa Capricorn. All right. He says, "It is hard to imagine anyone more engaged, more energetic, or more committed as Jedi EJ is in so many different aspects of Eternal community, competition, gameplay, and content creation." I think he's spot on there.
Thank you, Papa Capricorn. Thanks for being on the show. Like, oh God, you guys are killing me. I can't believe you guys did this.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are great and horrible at the same time. Oh my God.
Alex, you got another one?
Yeah, let's see here.
It's like you're scrolling through pages. Jesus.
No, it's just I'm like crossing them off because I'm trying to like keep them in check here.
Oh.
All right.
Don't cry on us, Jedi.
Do you? Okay, wait. Okay, no. Okay, I got Celtic Garden here. Let's see. All right. You can quote me as saying this. Jedi is one of the nicest players and streamers I have met in Eternal. He has encouraged me many times and always gives his audience his attention, recognizing and chatting with each person as a friend. He also has the nicest hair of all the Eternal streamers I've seen, so bravo for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like, this is true, dude. You like, when you talk to people in your chat, you know, you're like relating to them as a friend. I get that vibe too, so right on. This is spot on too.
Man, you guys are really laying it on thick. Gosh, this is difficult. Thank you so much, Celtic Guardian. I really appreciate it. You're another great friend. It's always great to see you in chat. But yeah, I hope you had a great vacation. And I believe she's going to be moving with her husband soon, right?
Yeah, I've been hearing some rumblings of that. Yeah,
I actually haven't seen her online in a while, but I understand she's traveling and busy and stuff. Thank you so much, Celtic. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I've got one here from Mr. Nom 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 himself, Fast Cookie. He says, I can't really think of anything I want to say here other than maybe asking if you ever got your beard or hair stuck somewhere during your training.
Fair enough. So I have fortunately never had my hair stuck in a car door, and I always told myself the day that happens is the day I'm going to cut it. How much I cut, I don't know. But when I have been doing my circus stuff, yes, I have definitely. That's why I don't know how some females do it with their hair down. I always tie my hair up in a tight bun or braid it when I fly, because the times that I haven't, I have totally gripped a silk or rope with a chunk of my hair in it and ripped it off. And then back when I had a mohawk, I caught my hair on fire twice.
Oh, only twice. Okay. So you got a good track record there.
Yeah, it was a combination of my mohawk being a little longer than usual, and then I had just gotten these poi called Death Stars, and the fireball that they create is huge compared to my normal ones, my monkey fist. So yeah, it was a thing for sure.
Great question, Cookie. Thank you for that.
Thanks, Cookie.
Right.
Appreciate you.
I got one here from Ben Gracier. I think if he has more time, he might come up with something else. But on the spot, he was saying he just wanted to give a little dig on you and say, hey, man, it's been like 6 months since the start of the Content Creator Showdown. He wanted to put that little jab in at you.
Yeah, fair. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. I just released an episode this weekend. Thank you very much. So
I saw it.
It's definitely,
yeah, those have been trickling out.
Yeah, it's so much production time though. Like, as I took the feedback and started to see what people wanted, I ended up having to watch the show about 3 times during editing to make it happen. So it's taken a little bit longer than anticipated.
Understandable.
And I'll be honest with you, I'll be a little transparent here. It's actually downtrended. The trend for it has gone down. The first episode was the most popular. It's trickled lower. So I am human. So it's hard for me to. I'm still motivated to do it. I'm still going to finish at least the first season, but it's hard to give it like a heavy priority.
To be fair, Ben has stopped in the content creation department himself. So
yeah. But I mean, still, it's a fair dig. It's a fair dig from Ben for sure, and
for sure.
I don't. Yeah, he doesn't mean anything by it. It's like I'm terrified now to think that Ben will think that he was he's putting an actual dig at you. Yeah, no, he's just messing around. But man, you do so much content. It's, you know.
I was really hoping that it would pick up and just be a way that I could share other content creators with the community. But sadly, yeah, like you can go on YouTube and the most popular one was the first episode, and it just hasn't had the following after that. Even though my feedback from the people that have watched the show has said it's gotten better, but you know, it is what it is. I don't fault anyone for it. It was an idea. Some work, some don't, and we'll move on from it.
All right. So this next one I've got is from our boy Sizzle Steam, and this is what I referenced as far as my least favorite thing about working with Jedi.
Foreshadowing.
So I think this is spot on. So Sizzle says, the best part of a Jedi stream is every time I look at him, I feel like less of a man.
Oh, come on. Oh, please.
So yeah, that's the hardest part of working with Jedi too. So spot on, Sizzle.
Next time you're in town, we'll go to the gym or go to my studio to practice or something. But I find that hard. Isn't Sizzle like super tall too? Is he like 6'2" or something?
I don't know how tall he is. You know, he's always like in the background on Eric's stream or whatever. And Eric's sitting down, so it's hard to gauge.
Fair. Fair. Thanks, Sizzle. I guess. I'm sorry.
I think that's a thanks. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I don't really. Yeah. My apologies, but thank you.
All right, you got any more of these for us, Alex?
No, that's the last one that I had on my end.
All right, so that was the end cap. All right, well that was a great, excellent idea for a surprise segment for Jedi. There, thanks so much to all y'all for throwing these our way that we could share with him and put him on the spot. That was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys should definitely check out the YouTube version to watch my horrible reactions. I don't know. Thankfully, I think my light's too bright to where you can't catch me blushing, but I definitely got hot.
Nice, perfect.
And then I couldn't take off my sweater because I had the headphones on. I wanted to keep listening, so that was awkward.
All right, well done, everyone.
Yeah.
We did it.
Thank you guys so much for doing that. I really appreciate it. Thank you both, Alex and John, for putting that together, man. I just wanted some content for this show, and you guys really went above and beyond. So thank you guys for that. That's really something else for sure.
Cool.
Yeah, no problem. You're welcome. That was fun.
All right. Well, with that, I guess we can take it on to the constructed corner for this episode.
Yep. This time we're actually not going to be talking about a deck per se, because we got some very big news today, as a matter of fact, as we're recording, and that is the fact that they announced set 8 of Eternal. That's right. We're getting our next set, which is super exciting. So Woo. I have to pull it back up because I used the window that I had it on to look up cards. So that's kind of funny. So it's going to be called Echoes of Eternity. And the way this set works, the slight lore behind it is that the campaign that we got, the Whispers or Promises by Firelight, was actually a prequel, so to speak, and it showed the history of Aramont versus Zolta. And now years have gone by, and Aramont is back to seek his revenge. And so this is going to be a very dark, evil set, which is super exciting, which I guess that's what the last one should have been, since we were going into shadows. But I guess now the shadows are coming out at us. Anywho, we got a spoiler. So we're going to talk about the spoiler, because this one is a doozy. So do either of you guys want to go over the spoiler, or you want me to call it?
Why don't you just take it away, Jedi?
Okay. All right. I try to be fair and delegate a little bit. All right. So we have Dova the Fearmonger. Dova is a nightmare at legendary. It is a 5/5. It costs 5. And then it costs fire, time, shadow. So 6 influence, double. It has pledge. So that's nice. You get on turn 1, you can play this as a power of any of the 3 variations, which is awesome, or one of the 3 influence. Then it also reads, when you sacrifice another unit, draw a card. All right, so we've seen Profane Nexus and some other cards. This is also Zoltis colors as well as Stone Scar Sack colors, so the Sack synergies are there. Then it has Mastery 10, which is when it deals a total of 10 damage, whether in combat to opponent. However, certain ability happens, and this one says play possessed by horrors on the enemy player. So we don't know what Possessed by Horrors is. That's a card obviously in the set that we have not been spoiled to yet, and that's probably why they previewed this card first. So John, you being the brewer, let's go to Alex first. Alex, what do you think about this guy?
Like my biggest exciting part was like a little bit like John. I know we'll probably talk about the pledge part of it, but for me, like with the next set coming out, the fact that it's a 3 color card makes me think they might be going in that direction. Hopefully, at least, one.
Yeah, we all talked about our love for Defiance earlier.
Yeah, like that would just be fun. I love multiple color sets. Those are the funnest for me.
I agree.
All right.
So yeah, I guess they're bringing back Pledge, which that is a sweet limited mechanic. Like it's fine and constructed too, but that's a nice clean, like always useful. I'm happy to see that keyword coming back in a set.
I agree with you. I think it's great. It plays out so well. It's like such a small mechanic, but it does so much for your opening hands to make sure you play more games and have less non-games. I like it. I think it's very clean. I like it a lot.
Especially since it's a 3-color pledge, and hopefully we'll see even more cards like that in the set.
Mm-hmm. I also
that's going to be huge.
I also like the fact that they're already like reusing mechanics. I think I like that we're seeing more of it. Like they're using that design space. They're making it's cards that we're already familiar with. So they're adding a new spice with older things. So it's also a little more new player friendly. If they might be new to card games in general, having too many mechanics might feel overwhelming. But when they see stuff they kind of recognize, the pledge might be new to some players, but obviously the mastery is not, because we have that in the current set. So I think the design there is very good. I like the fact that it's a 5-cost 5/5, which is very aggressively statted, but at the same time, because of the influence requirement, it's still fair. So I think overall this card is pretty solid. And obviously, like I mentioned before, it clearly wants to go in some form of sacrifice deck. That being said, I can also see... Oh, no, it has to be sacrifice because it's not dies. Okay, because for a second I was thinking it might overlap with Tazboo. But no, this is... you have to be sacrificing the unit. But of note... Actually, never mind. I was going to say Profane Nexus comes down on 4 and this comes down at 5. But because the spell triggers at the beginning, you won't get that trigger off of it. So that's something to consider. But yeah, I am personally a fan of the Grenadin Stone Scar deck. So that's a thing. I played Cultist in Expedition, but I'll be honest with you, maybe because it's public enemy #1 for so long, I'm not that huge fan of that deck. But I mean, and once again, this is just looking at the card with what we have in play. There's a very high chance that we're going to get plenty of fuel and synergies for it in this coming set as well.
Yeah, that's a sweet sacrifice payoff too. I mean, who doesn't like drawing a card, replacing the unit you sacrifice just right on the spot there?
So let me ask you something, and this is kind of putting you on the spot, John, but so I'm not going to knock you if you get it wrong or not, because I really don't know. I'm genuinely asking. But is this kind of an insurance policy to Aramod's designs on your own units, or does that not trigger like a sacrifice? Do you know if that works or not?
That's a good question. I don't think so. I think if you play an Aramod's design and all of your units dies, I would not think that counts as sacrifice, because in this game, generally when you sacrifice a unit, it's part of the cost of a card, and that would be like the end result of a card, like destroy a unit, for example, if it was a different card. So no, I don't think that would work, honestly.
Okay. I think you're right, just because of the key wording. I mean, granted, neither of those are keywords, but just because of the wording of it, I think it wouldn't work. It was just something that crossed my mind. I'm like, it gives you a little bit of you have a little bit of fodder.
Any other card that asks you to sacrifice a unit, like there's no response window for the opponent to mess with that unit. Like it's sacrificed for you to play the card. It works similarly to that kind of stuff in Magic typically. So yeah, that's a good question. I hadn't even thought of that, but no, I don't think it would work like that. But no, I think that's just it's like what you'd call this, like a signpost type of card, right? Like it's got the 3 colors of the sacrifice factions, basically. Like it's very clearly pointing you in a gameplay / deck building direction, like when you sacrifice another unit, right? So I like these types of cards. Like they're good for new players. They're fun to build around. And then, this is a perfect starting spoiler, because it's got one of these like references to another card that we don't know what it does, right? So it's like spoiling a little bit of another card, even. Like this is the kind of thing that gets me nice and excited about an upcoming set. And so
I agree.
This Possessed by Horrors, right? That's got to be some kind of cursed relic, because you play it on the enemy player.
I agree. What's your speculation on it?
Yeah, so Mastery 10's a lot of mastery, but it's only like, it's a 5/5, right? So that's just 2 hits of some kind with this guy. So it's probably not something too crazy. I'm thinking it probably is something that synergizes with the other words on the card, being when you sacrifice another unit. So I'm wondering maybe if it's something like, a cursed relic that goes to the enemy player, and like every time you sacrifice a unit, maybe they take a damage, or maybe they have to discard a card. Probably more like take a damage or something like that. That'd be cool.
That's what I'm thinking. I think it's a combination. It's weird because the possessed can go either it just being a curse, so it's possessing the player, or possessed by maybe you kind of get a free madness every turn. But I also feel that might be a little too powerful.
Whoa.
Yeah, because if you
that would be busted.
if you madness one of their guys, I mean, not necessarily. If you go up against a control deck, it does nothing. So
True.
but yeah, you madness one. So that being said, real quick, with
That'd be
Dova in
cool.
play, if you madness one of their units and then you devour it, you'll draw 3 cards. So you'll draw the 2 off the devour plus the card off of Dova's trigger. But I think it's closer to what you said, where it's either they have to sacrifice a unit every turn, which doesn't quite play into the possess thing. But once again, that could possessed by horrors just could be possessing the player.
What if it's a one-time trigger when you play the possessed by horrors that steals like X amount of units or all their units or something?
Ooh, I think that actually makes a lot more sense. I didn't
even think about that until you said that.
We saw that with Voprex, right? Voprex steals 1, 2, 3, 5 units from an opponent. So this could very easily. You know what? That kind of I like that
speculation.
Yeah, because the thing is, if you possess their units, right, then it will go with their static ability.
Spicy.
Ooh, yeah. What do you think, Alex? What do you think this possessed by horrors might be?
I think it's a legendary, right? Or is it just
the card is. I mean, possessed by horrors might not be.
Well, so like because it's legendary, I don't think it'd be limited to a reasonable payoff for 10 mastery. It could be something ridiculous as well, who knows.
So what's your speculation then?
Who knows? I have no idea. Like
something extremely powerful.
I feel like they've been very conservative about the win on the spot ones, because we have, for example, Gemini. Anyway, that one is
Jiminy Cricket.
Yeah, that one, it deals 100 damage, but it's 100 mastery, isn't it? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Nivea, the Paladin, it decimates all their power, but it's 20 damage. So I feel like this one being able to trigger it twice, like off of a block and an attack, kind of makes me feel like it's somewhat reasonable. Like it might be a little.
That's what
OP,
I'm thinking too. But
yeah, I think if we saw this being like 15 or 20, or even something weird like 12, where you need to put like a pump spell in there or something.
Mm-hmm.
Which, is not unheard of, considering that it's in time and fire. So we could see, even in shadow, we could see things like Spiteful Strike. We could see fight mechanics. So there's multiple ways to get an additional mastery off Dova. But anywho, all right, guys, let's go ahead. We're running short on time. I actually have to go to work soon, so let's go ahead and call it here. Let me know in the comments below or at me on Twitter to let me know what you think your speculation is on possessed by horrors, and or what your biggest facepalm of the year is.
Yeah, those were good.
Yeah, you guys did absolutely great. But all right, guys, that's gonna do it. So moving in to the closing segments of our show, real quick, you can catch me streaming live every Sunday, Monday, Tuesday at twitch.tv/Jedi_EJ. And then, of course, you can follow us on Twitter at EJ the Podcast, where you get all kinds of great updates, what's going on with us. I'm going to try to start posting more redraw our keep hands, as well as the occasional plays, and stay up to date, as well as let you know when John Julio is streaming. So speaking of which, John Julio, where can people find you at?
Yeah, twitch.tv/John Julio occasionally, and then every time Jedi's streaming, you can find me in his chat and on Jedi's Discord, as well as the Farming Eternal Discord. Coming out with us on Jedi's Twitch stream, we have a great time, and you get to see Jedi's luscious locks flowing.
Yeah, I didn't realize my hair was such a hot commodity. Duly noted. I'll have to do it up a little bit more now. I think one time somebody was like, "Did you cut your hair?" I was like, "No, I just have it in a bun." They're like, "Oh, thank goodness."
Bun, man.
Yeah.
Alex, I tried to compete when I came into the studio live, but it was tough.
Your hair's pretty legit, man. I'm not gonna lie, your hair's legit.
Thanks,
Alex. Where can people find you at?
Yeah, in the Twitch chat as well, and then in the Discord, the EJ. EternalJourney Discord. Yeah, go in there. A lot of friendly folks. We're very eager to answer questions.
All right. Oh, thank goodness for show notes. Holy cow. Oh my. I almost forgot. We have a giveaway. So if you guys doing a giveaway, So real quick about this giveaway, I, much like John Julio said earlier, I took down the Tuesday Night Eternal Invitational, so I won some cash prize through that. Thank you. Shout out to Telemocos for hosting it and all the good stuff. So that is immediately getting invested into this content, and so I'm giving away a $20 Steam gift card. Hopefully you use it on draft tickets in Eternal, but of course you can spend it however you like, no judgment held. So you were able to be entered into the raffle by commenting, and retweeting the tweet to the last 2 episodes, as well as sharing, commenting, and liking the YouTube video of this podcast. Or the subsequent podcast. So anyways, we have a list. I'm going to show it very quickly on screen for those of you on YouTube, so you can see that I did it. There you go. That's the list.
Also, you got a double entry if you were a Twitch sub to Jedi.
Yes. If you did the YouTube, you got 1 entry. If you did the Twitter, you got 1 entry. And then if you subbed to the channel, you got 2 entries for a total of 6. If you did episode 48, episode 49, and then obviously Twitch. So I have the list. So Alex, if you don't mind doing a random number generator, I have everyone numbered on this list, and then whoever wins gets a $20 Steam gift card.
All right, ready? Drum roll here. 57.
57 is Amadeo V. Congratulations, Amadeo. Amadeo got theirs, I believe, from Twitch sub. Yep, they subbed on Twitch. So thank you so much, Amadeo. Congratulations, friend, for winning a $20 Steam gift card. If you are listening to this podcast, by all means, contact me on Discord. If not, I will message you. I think I have you on Discord. I'm trying to remember now. If not, I guess I'll just see him eventually. But
we'll find you in Twitch chat otherwise, yeah.
Yeah, congratulations, Amadeo, once again. Amadeo V, thank you so much for being a supporter of Eternal Journey. I really appreciate it. Okay, that's done. Thank you guys so much for everyone that commented, that did all the kind stuff on the polls, as well as sent the stuff in to John and Alex for you to surprise me. That was very kind of you guys. I'm honored and flattered for each and every one of you that have stuck through this journey throughout the year with me. I really appreciate it. This is a labor of love. I enjoy it a lot, and I'm just glad to have so many great friends and such a great community to take this journey with me. All right. So with that, once again, I already plugged in the Twitch, the YouTube. Definitely check out the YouTube. I started a new semi-series there where anytime there's an update to Eternal, I go on there and make a short 4 to 7 minute video talking about those updates. So stay tuned to that. Subscribe if you can catch all the draft videos, and hopefully eventually when I get some Patreon action going on and I can pay these 2 great gentlemen, I can convince them to do more draft videos to add to the website or to the YouTube. So we'll figure that out. But that's going to do it for me, guys. John, Alex, thank you guys so much for such a great episode and for being a part of the show. I really appreciate you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Jedi. Here's to 50 more.
50 more.
Let's go.
You guys rock. That's awesome. What a great ending. I should almost clip it there. All right, guys, that'll do it for us. So until next time, join us on the next show where we get back to some nuts and bolts limited talk, where we're going to be breaking down our final takes as we come to a close of Flames of Zolta. We're not doing the Sunset Show yet, so we're going to have a special guest. Raven Dragon's going to be on the next show talking about how a top drafter attacks this format. But all right, guys, that's going to do it. So until next time, as always, I'm Jedi, and happy gaming.
Bye.
Good luck in your draft queues, everyone.